Hey everyone, in today's video we'll be looking at the Thirard Cobra, which is a French lock that resembles the ISIS and the Polak 7 because it's also a pump lock. It has 5 pins that are sprung towards you basically, and if you take a look at the key you can see that it has 5 parts that interact with these pins, and these parts have different lengths. This is one, this is another part, another, and so on, so that there's 5 of them. And these parts, basically what they do is that they push down these pins. Okay, so these are sprung like this and pushed down by the key. And you can see another thing that's hanging out from the ceiling of the keyway, and that's an interactive element that also blocks the rotation of the core, and that one interacts with this part on the key. Okay, can I push it? Yes, I can. So this is what controls the interactive. Now, how does it work? It's kind of difficult to explain because I did not get the lock. I'm not too confident doing it. I don't know what would happen if I just remove the core. So I will try my best to explain it to you. Let's take a look inside as far as we can. You can see these two. Okay, where's the light? Okay, these two gray things, or well, it looks like one. But these two things are, it's kind of a sidebar style mechanism, and what it does is it basically hacks the whole cylinder or the core around. So it creates kind of a ring-like structure that's around the core or around the plug, and this ring-like structure has little protrusions that go towards the inside of this ring, and basically what that does is that the shape that it creates is not basically completely round, but it's like irregular, and this plug cannot rotate when when the pins are not set properly, because when they are, you can see that every single one of them needs to be pushed to correct depth, and when they are, they have serrations or false and one true gates. You can imagine the shape of the pins or how they look, something like an ASA 216K. It looks very similar to it, and one of the gates is of course quite wider and deeper. And when they align, these metal protrusions I told you about that are basically sticking out from these two sidebars, they no longer interact with these sprung pins. So suddenly the diameter of the lock plug becomes quite small, because diameter is then created by the true gates, and these are quite wider and also deeper, so the plug can rotate. These sidebars do not block it. So an interesting mechanism. There is a nice video on the Locks Nests channel that shows it better, because he gutted it. He had a different format. So if you want to know more about it, you should definitely check it out. It's a very well made video. But let's talk about picking, because that's what's interesting for us. The main problem in this lock is how to tension it, because there is no reliable way how to apply tension to the front, since the core is buried deep within the lock body. So, and tensioning it in this place where the pins are is also kind of awkward, because obviously you need to be able to access those pins. It's possible, but you need to carefully choose which pin chamber will you choose for the tension. You need to first set the pin to some depth, so you can insert that tool there and then tension from there. Norlin did it like that, and it's a legit approach, of course, but I did not have such tools and I didn't want to make them, so I went the other way and I tension it like monitor darkly did. You can see that there is like there is an empty hole in here. I will show you. You will see it just in a minute, because this is my tensioning tool, this wire clip, and you can insert it in the keyway and kind of hook yourself in this hole. Okay, I'm there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there's the end of the paper clip, and you can hook yourself in there and tension the lock like that. You just need to be careful not to insert this too deep, because then you won't be tensioning only the plug, but also it will basically lean against the lock body, and that will not do anything. So insert it there, but not too deep, basically. That's the point. So this is the thing I use for tension, and when you have this figured out, you also need to choose how will you basically place it. So what I did was I placed it somewhere in between these two pins, because I knew that this pin, let's call him 5, is a low lift, so I don't need too much room to work with it. So I parked the tensioner like in here, and then I just left it there and it worked somehow. So if you have the tension figured out, you just need a tool to pick it. It can be basically anything that's pointy enough and will not obstruct the keyway too much. I use this Spooks XL flag, and the way you do it is basically you push down on a pin that is not moving, and when it's not moving, it's binding, and you push it down. You go through some false gates. A false gate will not give you any motion at all, or very little motion, until you reach a point where you suddenly feel that the pin is very springy. It is a lot of travel, and these screw gates are white as a barn door, so you will definitely know that you are on correct address. So that's the way you do it, and probably one of the most important tips I can give you if you want to take a shot at this is not to forget to always tap or make sure that every single pin is in the through gate whenever you move something. So let's say I set 1 and 2, and then I am working on 3, I place it in the through gate. I won't go any further, I will go back to 1 and 2 again, because they like to drop like half a gate, as most of these pump style locks do. So that's probably the thing that's most important, and at some point in the pick you will need to touch this interactive, just lift it. Sometimes it binds first, sometimes it binds like in the middle of the pick. I just want to tell you not to rely on it too much if you wanna like tension the lock against this interactive, because you will have to touch it sooner or later, and by setting it you might fuck up your whole tensioning system. So I think it can be done somehow carefully, but it's kind of awkward. Well, tensioning this lock like generally is awkward, but doing it against the interactive might come back at you. Alright, so I guess that's all there is to say about this lock, and as I said, I won't be cutting it, so hope you enjoy the pick. Okay, let's go. Okay, here we go. Okay, works. And start the pick. So put this paper clip in a nice place, like here, I guess. Is this? No, I don't want it to fall off, obviously, during the picking. This is not good. This is like so, yeah, see? slipped off this. Okay, so let's try this position. Okay, so let's start with 3. Click there, another, and another, and it's loose. Moving on to 4, click, still binding. Okay, it's pretty loose now, and 3 is set now. Okay, so 3 and 4 feel pretty set. Now I'm moving 2. Okay, gave him some clicks and it feels loose. Let's check 3 and 4 again, but they feel good. Now moving on to 1. Pretty bound up, honestly. Okay, some force was needed. It's still bound. Okay, now it feels pretty loose. I got a little lucky, I think, because that was too much force, but he seems to, and he ended up in a through gate. So going through the remaining pins again, before I tried to set the interactive. Okay, I think I just did. And now let's give a little nudge to 5. Okay, nice co-rotation, but still no open. So back to 1, loose. 2 feels loose. 3 is bound up. Pretty hard. Okay, I think we got an open. Yes, we do. Okay, so hopefully I will be able to show you that it's indeed open, because it's not that obvious. And I don't want to relock it. Okay, so yes, so we can move the inside of the cylinder freely. I don't want to turn it too much so it won't jump to the position where it shouldn't, but you can see that the lock is indeed open, one position. Okay, so yeah, I will relock it now, and the pins are back. Okay, well, as I said, I won't be getting these locks, so that's all for today, but thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.